Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to Beyond the Ranch. Yesterday, I had this idea where I get a bunch of emails. I get comments. I get comments. I get everything else going on coming to me through YouTube and Patreon and all that kind of good stuff. So I had this idea yesterday to actually do a video that I'm calling the Beyond the Ranch Telegraph, where we get a chance to sit down and I get a chance to answer some of those questions that you guys have been asking for quite a while. This is my chance to just kind of sit down with you and let you know what's going on. I came up with this idea yesterday and actually felt like something that would be kind of fun to do. I posted on Patreon, and if you're not a Patreon supporter, I would encourage you to do so. You can go to patreon.com/Beyond the Ranch. You don't have to pay anything to be a Patreon supporter. Everybody gets the same content, but there is the option there to support the channel as well, and a couple different tiers that you can jump on. There's something to be said about not having to charge people to do this kind of thing. I see it, all over YouTube and everything else, and, pay this and get this and that kind of stuff. But really, all I want to do is share some of the experiences that I have and some of the really cool stuff that I get a chance to see and be able to share that with you. And that's my whole goal in this. Of course, there are costs involved. So if you guys feel like pitching in with that, that's totally awesome as well. So I've got my list of emails, and the first one actually comes from Leanne. How's the adjustment to single life going, and how's the smoking going? If you've been watching for a while, and I put out a video about the same time that I think I was looking at this house. This is my living room, by the way. About the same time that I was looking at this house, and I mentioned that I had actually started smoking again. Smoking is, it's hit or miss. There's stressful days, there's good days, all that kind of stuff. I just haven't been able to lick it yet, but I'm working my way there. The kids, of course, have been on me about it. They know about it, and I try not to hide anything from them. And they know the reasons that I picked it back up again and all that kind of good stuff. But really, I'm just trying to get it kind of figured out. It's still a little stressful, honestly, to tell you the truth. I was actually, one of the things that I've been doing here lately is I actually do motivational type speeches for organizations within Wyoming. And I get called in some of the, stranger, I've done like dentist's offices where they have like a monthly meeting and they have a motivational speaker come in, or machinists, coal miners, all kinds of different stuff. And I was actually working on a speech just last week too for the next one that I'm doing, and decided to open up a little bit farther. So I feel like I can do that with you guys as well. But being able, the stressful factor is that, everything got turned on its head. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is that technically, Aaron and I split up in 2023, about halfway through the year. And I moved into the Airbnb. I lived over there, and I still tried to maintain the Our Wyoming Life thing as much as I could. And really, it just became, so stressful, and things that were going on between us and being able to still work together and all that kind of, it was not working. And so the decision actually, I stayed on the ranch all the way through until you guys saw the video where I announced that I was leaving. So that was over about 6 months or so. Tried to make it work, tried to, do what I could to keep things flowing. But, there is that, when you hit a point and when you realize that you're no longer living, Our Wyoming Life was my best life. And I think at some point in that 6 months, it started to occur to me that I was no longer living my best life. So the writing was on the wall, and I left the ranch, got this place here in town, had to basically start completely over, and we'll probably get into that more a little bit later, but I had to start completely over, and it's very stressful, mostly money-wise, honestly. The kids go back and forth, we both have equal time with them, so that, that wasn't really as hard. I really do, and another question that we have coming up, but we'll address this, is, the fact that when I have the kids, I'm trying to dedicate 100% of my time that I can, my free time, to them. So, there was no videos, there was nothing going on except for trying to be a part of the kids' lives and make sure they were okay. So, but we'll get into that later too with another question. So, as for hobbies, how's the adjustment to single life? That was Leanna's question. She's actually a Patreon supporter. How's the single life? It's boring. It's kind of boring. I have a lot of time on my hands when I don't have kids now, and it's just an object. It's just one of my biggest priorities is just trying to keep my mind busy. So I could ramble on for a long time about this kind of stuff. So let's just move right along. Karen, another Patreon supporter, said, "Why did you take such a long break from making videos, and have you taken up any new hobbies?" This is the hobby question. I think I kind of explained it, but so I made the Bitcoin video with Tyler, and after that, I realized that, I only have the kids for a set amount of time. And I did want to focus 100% of my attention towards the kids, during my free time. And then I'm starting a new job, got that going on. And to be completely honest with you guys, the way that the YouTube channels and stuff were set up, the work that I was putting into Beyond the Ranch, I wasn't actually getting compensated for. So it kind of just got put further and further back on the burner. And now that things have changed, and we'll get into that as well, now that things have changed a little bit, now I can go ahead and kind of focus my time into, being here with you guys and hanging out with you guys as well. As far as new hobbies, I think probably one of the biggest ones that I've kind of taken up, there's my phone over here, probably one of the biggest ones that, I'm going to mention this really quick. Larry Parrish has been a follower of Our Wyoming Life for years. And Larry has taken it upon himself, and I kind of feel bad about this sometimes, but Larry sends me recipes constantly, things to make with the kids, things to do, and that was just him there. And so I think that, having that kind of support has really helped out. So Larry has been helping me get into cooking and that kind of stuff. One of the bigger hobbies that I picked up is actually 3D printing. I find that very interesting. So I had bought a 3D printer a few years ago, kind of a low-end one, and messed around with it. The kids and I would make some stuff like this. This was actually printed on a 3D printer. This is a little shark toy that Kenzie's really big into sharks right now, and all aquatic life. And so this is a little shark thing that we printed on the 3D printer. It's kind of a little articulated doohickey. So the 3D printer thing has really been something that I've been getting into. Been trying to play more guitar, but my biggest hobby has actually been myself, and trying to, it's really easy to become what we do. And so I really just kind of want to define myself, and I've really been working on that a lot lately. So I guess hobbies do play into that, and having the time to do some of the things that you want. So this is from Terry Davies. So many of us have seen your license plates. Did you get to take those with you? Or so many of us have sent you license plates. Did you get to take those with you? Sure would be nice if you had them. As for the ones we sent you, it was a veteran plate. My husband wanted you to have it, a brother in arms kind of thing. So, long story short, our divorce was finalized in November. It's completely done. I took my personal belongings from the ranch, and Honestly, that was pretty much it. So Aaron kept the Our Wyoming Life channel. We actually went through mediation to try to get this all figured out. That's when a judge comes in and goes back and forth and sits with you and, says, well, they want this and you want this, and you go back and forth. And so, like I said earlier, the only thing that was really kind of up in the air for me at that point was the fact that Beyond the Ranch channel still was getting paid to Our Wyoming Life, the LLC, which was a business of its own. And Erin was still running that because she was on the ranch. So at that point, I was able to take Beyond the Ranch, break it off. It's not a business; it's just kind of a personal thing that I do. So it's still underneath me, and yeah. So divorce is finalized. I've gotten what I'm going to get, and up until this point, and so now that's it. Unfortunately, license plates on the wall were, I'm guessing, considered Our Wyoming Life property. And so that ended up staying with the channel. So unfortunately, I did not get any of those. I actually have one that was given to me after Aaron and I split up, but that is the only license plate that I have. And honestly, here at the house, I don't know where I would put them. I'd probably line my garage with them, but it would have been nice to have them, but it would have been a process. So from Pamela, you were Our Wyoming Life, and it's sad that you had to give that all up. Tried watching, not the same. Starting over from scratch has to be hard, but all your old owl friends have missed you, and we're ready for regular content, whatever that is. I guess that's not really a question. I don't know how that ended up in there. But I am very, very thankful that a lot of people and a lot of friends have decided to support both channels and keep, obviously the Our Wyoming Life channel still, helps out the kids. Beyond the Ranch channel here helps out the kids also. So it's a very good thing and good for all of us all the way around. Interesting, no cowboy hat, but a baseball hat. Cowboy anymore? So now my job, the new job that I took in January, the end of January, I'm coming up on a 1-year anniversary actually, hopefully a raise, fingers crossed. I actually do marketing for our local cooperative. And when I say local, we have multiple locations in between Gillette and South Dakota, Sturgis, South Dakota, so in Wyoming and in South Dakota. Cooperative is basically a company that started with a bunch of farmers getting together and saying, hey, if we buy grain at this price in bulk, then we can split it up amongst each other and save ourselves money. So that's where it started. Now our cooperative, 100 years later almost, does fuel, propane, agriculture goods. We have retail locations. It's really kind of a cool thing. And unfortunately, no, I don't get there's Larry again, I bet. I don't get a whole lot of, it was Larry again. I don't get a whole lot of time to go out and cowboy. I have done a little bit. I still have my cowboy hat. It's actually right here. I did wear it in a video not too long ago. And I got a bunch of, don't wear your cowboy hat in the house, all that kind of stuff. It was funny. It reminded me of when we first started Our Wyoming Life, and I would wear my cowboy hat in the house, and people would be like, "Hey, you're not supposed to wear that in the house." But then if I took it off, nobody recognized me. So it is about wearing different hats now on Beyond the Ranch. It's about doing different things. So I don't have any problem wearing a cowboy hat one day and a ball cap the next. Probably won't see me without a hat though. I'm too self-conscious for that. I guess I'll leave the hat on. Question here. This was from, this one was on YouTube. C Plath1 said, I need a BTR podcast. Can I be your first guest? Thought about doing a BTR podcast, and it'd be kind of cool to have a guest on it, I guess. There's actually a podcast option through Patreon that we can do, where you could be a Patreon member or supporter and get the podcast directly on there. Might be something that might be worth doing. So maybe I'll be hitting you up for that. Another question here. This one's been popping up quite a bit, and it kind of surprised me. You mentioned you were once a cop. Well, I wasn't a real cop. I was in the military and a military policeman, which is, if you were in the military, you know, there's a big difference between the two. But I know that your area is in need of law enforcement officers. Highway Patrol needs troopers. This is from YO West, by the way. You have a great YouTube following. Think about making videos that show you going through the process of testing, getting hired, going through the academy, and training to become a law enforcement officer in Wyoming. You have the attitude and brains to be great at that job. You could be the next Frank Sloop, who now I'm drawing a blank on who that is. Take us through the process. Pay and benefits are great. You'd have a great following and would help recruitment of police officers is just a thought. Pretty cool thing that's been happening ever since really I announced that I was leaving the ranch is, you know, everybody's looking out for you, and everybody's got ideas, and and I'm not saying any of the ideas are bad, because you know, there's so many out there. I really lucked out is what happened. I was able to get this job with the co-op. CBH Co-op is the company, and it just kind of lined right up with me. You know, they talk about, you know, like things happen for a reason and whatnot. And I honestly believe that job coming open at that time, me going to Indeed.com going, hey, I need something to do, or I need a career. That really lined up just perfectly. So I'm pretty happy where I'm at, but you never know. Things change, right? Occasionally. Last question that I've got here for you guys is from John Stofatcher. Suggestion for a Beyond the Ranch video. Military Museum in Du Bois is a real hidden gem and a great place to visit, and you would enjoy it with your military background. There is a military museum in Du Bois, Wyoming. I think that's how you say that. Over as you're heading kind of towards Jackson Hole. It is, I've heard a lot about it. They've got a lot of just huge military displays and vehicles and tanks and all kinds of cool stuff there. As the weather gets better, I'll be able to do more traveling with Beyond the Ranch. Again, I still have a 9-to-5 weekday job that I have to deal with, and then I've got kids, obviously. So, but that's definitely on my list. Like I think I talked about in the video, was the Bighorn Battlefield where General Custer had his last stand. I've gotten a lot of suggestions from all over the place, and locally. So I do have a couple surprises planned for you guys. So those will be cool coming up as well. So I guess I do have one last question. What's the future, and what's going to happen with the channel and you? I guess we never really know our future, do we? I mean, if anything, I've learned over the last 15, 16 years, is you never know where you're going to end up. Change happens, and it happens fast sometimes. And so being able to adapt and move with that is huge. I've had a few thoughts about the channel itself. I've thought about changing the name, Beyond the Ranch. A friend of mine actually pointed out at one point that, you know, Beyond the Ranch ties you to the ranch forever. As long as you keep up with that channel name, and you're not just the ranch. And it's always like looking in the rearview mirror. Why are you looking in the rearview mirror? Beyond the Ranch, you could, and it's pretty easy to do. Change the channel name. We don't lose subscribers. It just pops up as a different name someday. So maybe that could be an option as far as the channel goes, what the future of the channel holds. I'm planning on being able to do these telegraphs occasionally, get out a video when I can. I don't have a really strict schedule set up now, which is kind of nice after making, 3 videos a week for 8 years, 7 years, whatever it was, the 30 and 30, the 24-hour live stream, all those were my things. And after being on such a strict filming schedule, and honestly relying on the income that came from Our Wyoming Life, because Our Wyoming Life grew into a brand and it became selling meat and jerky, or well, I guess jerky is meat, but selling whatever along with it, and it all became kind of very, very business oriented. One of my real plans, while this channel does make money, obviously I've explained this to you guys many times before, but when you watch the commercials at the beginning of videos, I get a fraction of a cent. Those cents add up and you end up making enough to make a house payment, hopefully. But, well, maybe not that much. But so the plan is to keep going with Beyond the Ranch, be able to use it as a income generator for myself, being able to, I do have a full-time job, but paying the bills and starting over and buying a house and a car and having to do all the things that comes along with that. I mean, it's been expensive. So my plan is to be able to do this. A lot of, I mentioned the speaking stuff that I do, and try, if you've got an event coming up and you're willing to bring me out for it, I'd be happy to come and speak at your event. But, that kind of stuff is what is, obviously pays the child support, pays for the braces, pays for whatever else. And, so that's the nice thing about being able to do this. Beyond the Ranch isn't going anywhere. The name may change, but the faces will stay the same, kind of thing. I'm looking forward to getting out and reconnecting with some of the Our Wyoming Life faces that you've seen. In fact, I've got some phone calls to make tonight about some people that have been on the channel in the past, and would they be interested in me coming and seeing them and seeing what they're up to and how they're doing and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot to it. There's a lot of moving pieces. I would like to apologize for being gone for so long, but at the same time, I'm not apologetic. I feel like that was the break that I needed to, first of all, make it something that I wanted to do, but also make it to put me in the right place. There's a lot of stress that happens, a lot of mixed feelings and heaven forbid, depression and all those kind of bad words that happen. But getting to where I wanted to be, where I needed to be able to do this. And that's where we're at now. So look forward to more videos coming up. Next trips are just now getting planned. We've got a huge one. Why do we keep on saying we? I guess you're coming with me, so we're saying we. Got a huge one planned for March at some point. Big plan, big trip, chance to get out and see some really different things. And, just kind of bringing you guys along with me, because I feel like one of the things that I realized was when I left the ranch, I left a lot behind. But all of you guys, you're still with me. You're still here. So it's like I got to bring you guys with me as well. And you guys get to be a part of that. And it's the very, very least that I could do, because you guys helped me out for so long and helped the family out, Aaron, the kids, everything at the ranch and everything else, that there is this implied owing that I feel like my life would be empty without. I guess it's not really owing you guys. It's just that I want you there. So thank you very much for being there. We're getting ready to kick this thing off, get going, get running, have some fun coming up. If you like the Telegraph idea, we'll stick with it. If you don't like it, we'll get rid of it. And the big hope is that we all figure out and we all realize that change is okay and we can all get through it. And one last piece of advice, and I came up with this when and I probably heard this before somewhere, but I was working on this speech that I was talking about that I'm going to go give. And it was something along the lines of, just remember, sometimes you're pushing the cows and sometimes you're walking through what they leave behind. I'll have to word that a little better. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. We'll see you next time right here on Beyond the Ranch.